So, good and gracious God, creator and giver of life, we gather tonight again in your presence. So much is happening. We're surrounded by evidence of new life all around us as springtime bursts forth. We pray health, endurance, sharpness of perception, and blessings on all who are working to rid our region of the threat posed by the radioactive waste at Westlake.
I would say the majority of people in St. Louis probably still don't know that we were the epicenter for purifying uranium during World War II and the Cold War for nuclear weapons. The smoldering fire that has started adjacent to the radioactive wastes helped elevate the problem of the radioactive waste at the Westlake Landfill.
This situation here at this landfill, as far as we know, there's not another situation like it. The fire is what's making the odor so intense. It's causing more releases of those noxious gases.
I mean, they keep telling me there's no health hazards. They show me all kinds of papers and stuff that saying there's no health hazards. They bring down testers and monitors and everything, so I'm just going by the word that they're telling me that we won't have any health problems. So.
The stench, if you've never experienced it, is, you can't even really put it into words. As soon as you smell it, you want to cover your mouth and your nose. Makes your eyes burn.
You get throat pain, coughing, nausea.
Oh, sometimes it turns your stomach pretty bad. So it gets pretty rank sometimes.
What I don't think a lot of people understand when they see this on the news, it's a Bridgeton problem. They don't realize, well, it might be a Bridgeton problem now, but heaven forbid something should happen. That's the whole St. Louis metropolitan area.
Been here for 10 years. I'm a mechanic here. And we all put up with the unrelenting stench and abuse in this place. Everything from daily smells that you can taste to their wells exploding and shooting landfill ooze and pus 100 feet into the air, like an old geyser or something. And now, a few days before our lease is up, because they're kicking us out, they're already in here breaking down walls and just being in the way, making it harder to do what we have to do. And I think it's bullshit.
Well, the guys from Republic came down and told us we had to get out by, they came down first week of March and told us we had 60 days to get out because they needed the property for putting a water pump transfer station in here. I was hoping I could make it another 2 years here, and then eventually move out, but didn't work that well. I knew it was coming, but I just didn't know it was coming this quick. Well, Westlake Quarry was the original owners of this. It was bought out several different times. Laidlaw owned it, Midwest Waste owned it, Allied Waste owned it, and now Republic Service owns it. Up in the front is where they all buried most of the stuff at, but I mean, this hole over here, after they got this all dug out, they couldn't take any more rock out of it, so they eventually just started filling it up with trash. Since they put the cover on it and everything, the smell's gotten a lot better. But you can tell different times when they've opened up a new hole where they've had to dig in and put new pipes in the ground, the smell really gets to you. And I'm sure if they dig that front up there where they got to try to stop the fire at, it's going to get really stinky.
They ought to at least have the decency to let us finish out our lease and leave. And then they can do anything they want with this place. They can tear it down, burn it to the fucking ground. Nobody's going to care but them. They should just, treat us with a little respect. Danny's been here his entire life. He started working for this company when he was 18 years old. He's been here his whole life. It's the only job he's ever had. I just don't get it. You know, how people could be so shitty.
Well, they gave me $10,000 to move out, said which would help me move, you know, but that was the only piece that they gave me. I've been looking for a building to go to, but I haven't found anything that I can really afford around here or find a building big enough that, you know, suit my needs that I need. So I'm just gonna close it down for now and store my equipment and see what happens in the next several months. And if not, I'll just retire, I guess.
I'm gonna find another job. You know, what else can I do? I'm obviously not rich. I work here. I mean, that's nothing against Dan. He's a good guy to work for. But yeah, I mean, we're all screwed. You know, we're all hoping that we, you know, find jobs. At least, you know, make what we were making and not be worse off than we already are.
I certainly wouldn't have moved my family here to raise our kids here had we known anything about radioactive waste. It's all been covered up, all hush-hush. We've lived here 17 and a half years. There were times when we smelled the landfill, you know, off and on. It wasn't very frequent, and it didn't last for long, and it didn't really keep you from doing anything outside. We used to have tons of flowers in the summer, and last year we were like, we don't want to be out there. We don't know what it's going to be like, so we got a few hanging baskets and called it, you know, complete. As much as I would like to get out of where we are, I mean, I love our subdivision. We're kind of all by ourselves. We're about 100 houses back there. We've got a beautiful park at the end of it. I don't want to be exposed to this anymore. I would like to get out, but not only would we not get our full home value if we would go to sell, I would feel guilty selling my house to somebody else, especially if there were somebody with small children. I couldn't handle that, knowing that a family with small children moved in and were being exposed to who knows what. It's one thing to work that close to a landfill, which I do, but it's another thing to go home and go to bed at night and think, what's going to happen at that landfill while we're sleeping?
Well, what are you doing? You're gonna help me? Go to that one up there. What? I just kind of asked how I could help. I was sick for a while, and then I got better, well enough to get out anyway. And I asked Karen Nichols, she's one of the administrators for the Facebook page, what I could do, and she said, I have flyers, you want to do it? And I said, well, yes, I do. It'd be a nice excuse to get out and walk. When you've been told that you've had cancer, it's probably one of the scariest, surreal things that anyone can ever, that word, you know, that dangerous C word. You start to live your life, though, in intervals of scans. You know, you have your scan, everything seems clear, you're fine, you're happy, and then the time starts to come for your next one, and all that fear and anxiety just hits you all over again. And like I said, you start to live by that cycle, and it's a scary thing. So I'm in between that cycle right now. I'm kind of in limbo, waiting to see what comes next. I had my thyroid surgeons, one of the surgeons that was assisted with the surgery, I went when I had my follow-up afterward. I asked her, and she said thyroid cancer is definitely attributed to overexposure to radiation. The problem is because I've spoke to the Cancer Society about it, a lot of the research that was done on that is typically when there's a nuclear accident like Chernobyl or Fukushima, or if you've had childhood cancer where you've had radiation done, then they almost for sure can say, yeah, that's why you had thyroid cancer. But in my situation, there isn't really any test for long-term low-level exposure, but she did say it's possible. We're handing out flyers, we're putting them on door to door. to remind people that there's a Westlake meeting tomorrow night, a community meeting over at the Operators Union. We have one every third Thursday of the month. It's actually, when I first heard about it, I was like, how can they once a month come in with all this new information and get crowds to come? But it's overwhelming, the information that they provide at each meeting. How many do you have left? I have 2. Oh, we're so connected. That means we did like 300 to 400. That's how many we did last time.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ed Smith. I'm with the Missouri Coalition for the Environment. Is anybody here for their first time? All right. So the radioactive waste we're talking about started during the purification of uranium in downtown St. Louis for nuclear weapons. Along the way, it was
Radioactive wastes it's hard to stress the dangers of something that's invisible and odorless when there are so many other issues in our lives. Humans are very inclined to appreciate what we can sense, and we can't do that with radioactive wastes. Consistently, locally, the opinion is that the radioactive wastes need to be removed and sent to a facility that's actually sanctioned for these types of radioactive material, which the Westlake Landfill is certainly not one of those sites. In the fall of 2012, the Missouri Coalition for the Environment, we held a public meeting at the Machinist Union Hall, which is right near the landfill. And since that first community meeting that we held, the moms and other leaders, and by leaders I mean from the community, not political or anything like that, have really stepped up in a very amazing way to put on these public meetings. They started at the Pattonville High School, have since moved to the International Union of Operating Engineers, which is even closer to the landfill. We discuss what's going on politically, we address the science, we address the risk, we have emergency responders talk. We try to keep it as engaging as possible and give people an opportunity to come, ask questions, and get updated regularly about what's happening. The reason that we're doing this is because there was a void in meaningful public relations on the part of our state or federal government in a consistent way. And so we're filling that void and having these public meetings where people can come hear what's going on.
I think it's them trying to say, well, if you settle now and you sign up for this and you accept this money now, then you can no longer complain about this odor, that this odor is settled.
And offering all these neighborhood people these little checks, you know, and saying they're sorry, but making them sign paperwork saying they can't ever sue or, you know, come back again, that's bullshit. You know, that's bullshit.
I don't think they're happy with it. I don't think any of them want to sign on to that settlement. I can't speak for them because I don't know, but based on some of the things that I've read, no, I don't think they're happy about it. I think they agree with me that it's ironic that it's coming out right before they want to dig up the ground there, and it's just not enough. But it's more hush money, I think, than it is a solution.
It'll come up in the news again one day. But, you know, it'll be bad news. It won't be something good saying, oh, yeah, we're going to fix it. We're going to dig it all up, and we're going to put it in Yucca Mountain or whatever the hell they do with that stuff. And we got the fire put out, and we're going to clean it all up, and oh, my God, we're sorry. You know, welcome to Fantasy Island.